especially in 2020 with a pandemic, shaky economy, human rights violations, and riots. What might be coming next, and why is it all happening? Leo Knighton Tallarico, a longtime professional astrologer, will show us the planetary movements behind all this transformation. Is it possible extraterrestrial beings are a part of all this? Sit back and enjoy the ride as Leo takes us on a journey into the cosmos, showing us humanity's movement into the age of Aquarius, which will unite us all, even in the face of our world's challenges. And now, Perspectives from the Sky with Leo.
Hi everyone, this is Leo Knighton Tallarico, and today is October 2nd, 2021. In case I forget toward the end of this broadcast, I can be gotten a hold of at Soulus, S-O-U-L-U-S, at AOL.com. Questions, comments, readings, whatever, just that's the place to contact me. Well, you know something? I've been talking about this transformation that our human family is going to go through many, many years ago. Now it's here. In my estimation, we entered the age of Aquarius, last winter solstice, when Jupiter and Saturn were conjunct at 0+ degrees of Aquarius. I've also let people know, as many others have, that this movement into a new age does not mean that you put your foot into the new age over the line and then all of a sudden, wow, everything's perfect, great world. I was waiting for this age of Aquarius and it's so wonderful and perfect. No, it's a shifting of energies. It's a shifting into a new world. But whenever you have a transition like this, that means there's an old world that has to be let go of. And that's what we're in the process of doing. And a lot of the energies that are out there now, and have been for a while, are based on an old paradigm that's about every person, every man for themselves, and about get as much for yourself as you can and your family, perhaps, or your group. But it's a competition. It's me against you. It's winner and loser. Sometimes it feels like predator and prey, even. In fact, in some cultures or subcultures, you can see that men have been put into the position of predator and women seem to play the prey role. That and any other way of doing predator prey is just not the consciousness that we've moved into. It's about not win-lose, it's about win-win. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to be able to play football, baseball, and have win-lose. Of course, it's made for that. But in life itself, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, people say, yeah, well, I really was successful in my last relationship. What does that mean? You know, relationships are about connecting. And this new world is about connecting. It's about the dots in the universe all being connected. There's unity, there's oneness. Doesn't mean there's not strife or separation. But when it rules your world, like it has been from the old world, then that's a whole nother story. This new age began around the time of Christ. I think about 150 years before that approximately, which takes us into the birth of Buddha and Lao Tzu and some others, spiritual beings that have turned out to be really admired spiritual beings just a couple hundred years before the birth of Christ. So around that time is when the New Age, Pisces age began. That was moving out of an Aries age just before that. But in this Pisces age, what has happened is that people like Christ, Muhammad, brought in a spirituality that turned into mass religion, which had never happened before to those degrees. You know, you take a look at Christianity, you take a look at the Muslim faith, and they have the majority of people that are in religions are in one of those two. And then they turn out by the end of the age to make it, you know, me against you. And I've always wondered, how the hell do you do that? How the hell do you start a war for God? A war for the God you believe in. Do people not realize how ridiculous that is? Energetically? How spiritual can that be if I'm fighting a war to have my God beat your God? Yet there's so many people actually believe that way. That's the old world. And it goes to show you a lot of people are very connected to that old paradigm. It's because they're bad people or evil people? No. But they have not awakened to the new world. They're holding on to the old world. Maybe because they don't know anything else. Maybe because they're scared. Maybe because they hold privilege in that old world. But so many people do not want to or are not ready to let it go. And that brings us to now. These next coming months, these next few months especially, October, November, December, are really going to shift things in the world a lot. I've been mentioning and telling people that mid-October is when there's a turning point in our world shown planetarily. And mid-October, actually starting on the 6th of October, Pluto goes direct. And then on the 10th of October, Saturn goes direct. And then on the 18th, Jupiter goes direct and Mercury go direct. So you can see that mid-October, or even a little before mid-October, some really important planets go direct, and they all go direct, within the same couple of weeks. That's important. Because following those direct movements of those planets, we have eclipses coming. We have two powerful eclipses coming. We've got one on the 19th of November and one on the 3rd of December. I'll get into more details on those in just a couple of minutes. I want to tell you that Deborah Knighton Tallarico will be on today, let's say around the halfway mark of this show, maybe a little before, maybe a little after. But she'll definitely be on, and please be here for the meditation. I think after what I tell you the first half hour, because thank God Deborah's here to give us a meditation to relax us a little bit after that, Leo. So I'm only going to give you the truth as I see it. And I certainly welcome anybody has other ways of looking at this, because my mind is open to other ways besides what I'm seeing. In fact, I hope other ways. To break up the old world, when you really look at it now, you can feel the split. There's kind of a split in people, culture wars, for instance, we could call it. But there's this definite split. It's almost like you take the yin yang symbol. Oh, my favorite, it's up on the wall. That's right. Don't need to see it here. It's almost like you take that yin yang symbol, which is the opposites enclosed in unity, and it feels like it's being ripped apart. So most people it's really a tough time for stress right now, because if you don't feel unity inside yourself, that is stressful. In fact, a lot of times when we get stressed out, it's because something has happened to take away our centeredness, our connection with source, our knowledge that everything, everywhere in this universe is connected. Because you know why? Because it is. Sometimes I think that leaving the Garden of Eden is just a metaphor for leaving the connectedness and going out to see if there's anything else out there. Snake did the temptation and humans went out there. But I don't think it was a mistake. I think when that happens, it's time to grow. It's time to transform. And yeah, there's some separation that happens during that time. But then what the challenge is to take what you're going through in a transformation and bring it back to unity. Not the same unity you had before, but a new unity with new integration of the different parts of yourself. That has a lot to do with how transformation works. So this transformation from a Pisces age to an Aquarian age, a lot of people, when you tell them unity and everything is one, they think like communism or something like that, or something where people aren't individuals anymore, where they sacrifice themselves for the state. They don't have an identity that matters anymore. You got to be there for the state, for the larger group. This time it's different. The moving into unity is based on individuality. People keeping the integrity of that individuality, and then from that place, connecting with unity. And you don't have to create the unity. The unity is there. It's a matter of allowing yourself to be within that unity. But again, you want to keep your individuality. I think a good metaphor is like an orchestra. Every instrument in the orchestra is different than the other instrument. Trumpet doesn't try to be the clarinet for the sake of unity. Piano doesn't try to be the drums for the sake of unity. It's all, each instrument keeps to its difference. And from that place, the conductor helps us to have beautiful, beautiful music. All the individuality blended together in the beauty of music. And that's Aquarian, and that's Aquarian age. These next few months are going to be rough, I believe. Let's start out at the beginning of it. So on October 6th, there's a new moon in Libra, 13 plus degrees of Libra. And Pluto goes direct the same day. That makes, okay, so you got your normal Libra, right? Which is gentle, feels connections everywhere, cares about the relationship in the other person, sensitive to beauty, to harmony, to balance, all the positive traits of Libra. Pluto's there. Pluto's the ruling planet of Scorpio. It's not about things being pleasant and harmonious anymore. It's about power. It's about depth. It's about going to the depths. And by going to the depths, you find parts of yourself or parts of your past or traumas from the past, and you release them. You release them by surrendering and letting the universe help you. And then after that process, then there's like a rebirth, Phoenix rising. That's Pluto. So with Pluto coming at the time of this Libra new moon, it tells me that that lunar cycle, starting at that new moon and lasting until the new moon on November 4th, the Scorpio new moon, will have a lot of intensity to it, but at the same time, a lot of desire to find peace and unity. I kind of think that, in a way, eclipse season is starting on the 6th, energetically. Even though a month later, we're still not into the eclipse, to the first eclipse. That Scorpio new moon, and then the full moon right after that, that's going to be the first eclipse. We'll talk more about that as we get closer to it in our talk. So that's our new moon in Libra in the 6th. And here's the thing with all of these aspects and events, planetary events that I'm going to tell you about, they all are connected. Most of you don't do astrology full time like I do and have been doing for 30 some years. And I've learned that the closer an aspect is, the more powerful and the more pertinent and the more important that it is. So a lot of these events that I'm going to tell you about are really closely connected to countries and to countries' leaders. And that's what makes it so like, wow, what is this? So on the 6th, that new moon in Libra is conjunct the U.S. Saturn within 1 degree. It's square the U.S. Sun, exactly. The Pluto direct happens at 24 plus degrees of Capricorn. And that will be conjunct, Pluto conjunct itself within about 3 degrees, so not that close on that end of it. But opposite Mercury at 24 degrees of Cancer, exactly. United States chart, it fits into very well. Let's go to 1010. And I got to tell you that I've been getting the 1010 numbers over and over again in my mind, or seeing them in my mind's eye. I've been doing that for a few months now. October 10th. I was wondering where's that taking me. So anyway, on October 10th, 1010 this year, Saturn goes direct, and it goes direct right on the south node in Aquarius of the United States. Feels like fate. Saturn often has a lot to do with fate or destiny, and the nodes have a lot to do with fate or destiny. So it makes me wonder about the date 1010. And that's not that far away right now. Maybe it'll just be something that is not seen on the outside, but there'll be a big shift somewhere on the inside that we aren't knowledgeable about. But I think it'll be more than that. So that Saturn direct happens opposite the Israel moon. Israel natal chart has its moon at 4 degrees of Leo. And it's opposite Biden's Pluto. Joe Biden has a Pluto at 7 degrees of Leo. So it's right there. So Israel and Biden are very connected to the Saturn direct. Keep that in mind. On the 18th, Jupiter goes direct. Jupiter goes direct at 22 plus degrees of Aquarius. Makes a close sextile to the United States Mars, which is at almost 22 degrees of Gemini. Mercury goes direct on that same day. So you get Jupiter direct and Mercury direct on the 18th. Mercury goes direct at 10 degrees of Aquarius after having been retrograde for 3 weeks or so. And, right now it's retrograde. For a lot of people, this has been a tough Mercury retrograde. A lot of them are tough, I understand. But this one felt especially tough in working with people. Now that Jupiter direct at 22 degrees of Aquarius is exactly to the degree conjunct Iran's sun. On the 20th, just 2 days later, there's a full moon at 27 degrees of Aries and Libra. And that's closely square to the United States Pluto, which is at 27 degrees Capricorn, to the degree again. All of these, almost all of these, are to the degree, that's what makes me say, pay closer attention, Leo. This is important. This is an important time period. So now by the 20th, the airwaves might be clearing up a little bit for you because Mercury will have been gone direct for a couple of days, but usually you have to give it a week or 10 days before it gets back to its normal speed. Then on 11/4, there's an important new moon. And if we're not in the eclipse season now, feel certain that Mars, that Scorpio new moon on the 4th of November will definitely put us into the eclipse season. The first eclipse will be 2 weeks later. Now that new moon, China and Iran have moons at 14 degrees of Leo. Uranus changed directions at 14 degrees of Taurus, both fixed signs. It's an important thing to let you know. Iran and China have the same moon in the same degree, 14 degrees of Leo. Uranus stationed and changed directions from that place. And this new moon in Scorpio is 2 degrees from being exactly square Iran's moon, China's moon. And Biden's Mars. In fact, Biden's Mars is exactly at 12 degrees of Scorpio. Do you see what's coming together here? Then there's a lunar eclipse on the 19th. Here's our first eclipse now. And this eclipse is at 27 degrees of Scorpio Taurus, meaning the sun at 27 degrees of Scorpio and the moon at 27 plus degrees of Taurus. That's going to be a lunar eclipse. It's not a full one, I don't believe, but it's going to be strong. It's going to be powerful. Well, what's at 27 degrees? The United States moon is at 27 degrees of Aquarius. It'll be exactly square this lunation. And Joe Biden, sun, is at 27 degrees of Scorpio. So it will be conjunct that sun of Biden. At least the sun part of that lunar eclipse will be. The moon will be directly opposite. So let me add this. I mentioned several months ago that that back in 1947 in June, we had the same eclipses as we're having now, just reversed. So 27 degrees of Taurus and 12 degrees of Sag. 12 degrees of Sag was a lunar eclipse last time. This time it's a solar eclipse. And that'll be on the 3rd of December. Solar eclipse, 12 degrees of Sagittarius. In 2001, at the 911 event, this is how I knew more certainly that this is the true ascendant and descendant of the United States. Saturn was at 12 degrees of Gemini. Pluto was at 12 plus degrees of Sagittarius right before the 911 event. And usually a lot of important events happen in a person's life or a country's life when something is happening to the ascendant. That's why it's so important to know time for your chart. And you can learn a lot without it, but there's a lot more accuracy if you know the time. So this solar eclipse, it's a total solar eclipse, will be at 12 degrees of Sagittarius. That means both the sun and the moon will be at 12 degrees of Sagittarius. As we've let you know before, when the sun and moon are exactly opposite each other, that's when there's a full moon. And all lunar eclipses are full moons. All solar eclipses are new moons. So this one will be a new moon on the 3rd of December. And then on December 7th, of course, you all know December 7th was the beginning of Pearl Harbor, which took the United States into the Second World War. On December 7th, Mars will be in Scorpio, square Jupiter and Aquarius. And that'll be on, and that'll be a powerful aspect by itself. And on 12/21, December 21, to finish this year off, Saturn squares Uranus for the final time. Saturn has been squaring Uranus all year long, and that'll be the final pass. And what's Saturn square Uranus? Saturn order, Uranus disorder. At least that's one of the ways that they present. So when you got a lot strong Saturn going on by itself, you're going to have a lot of stability. You're going to have a lot of following what you need to do, what you have to do. A lot of feeling of conscientiousness, of a need to get your tasks done and to succeed. If it's Saturn and there's no other planets like Uranus around, Saturn can be boring because everything stays the same in order to keep the peace and keep the order. Uranus is about breaking outside, which wasn't discovered until 1781, by the way, during the French and the American Revolutions going on, which has a lot of meaning for Uranus, which is the ruling planet of Aquarius. And so Uranus breaks outside of boxes and wakens people and liberates. Like take the chains off your ankles in whatever situations you're in. By itself, it can feel like unbelievably chaotic, though. But in order to make real change, there has to be some chaos. To think about it. You got to let go of holding on in order for there to be true change. Saturn will keep you hanging on. Uranus will burst you out and liberate you. And you're going to find a lot of people on one side of that or the other more strongly. There's been more riots the last couple of years. That's more the Uranus, because Uranus is also revolutionary, rebellious, breaking outside of what you have to do, what you must do. The old patriarchal god is Saturn. 1781, we started, well, when Christ was born, we started another way of looking at things. But to truly, as a human family, on a certain level, began in 1781 at the revolutions. 1846, Neptune going direct. And 1930, Pluto going direct. That's the threesome for the new age. And in your own chart, or in the charts of countries, or just in general, when these planets are making aspects with each other, you'll find great change. For instance, in 65, 66, Uranus was conjunct Pluto in Virgo. That, think of it, 65, 66. Vietnam War, they're starting to draft people. Martin Luther King, very strong at that time. The 60s were burst open in 65, 66. And the whole 60s revolution, which is the 60s and the 70s pretty much, is a trademark of that Uranus-Pluto conjunction. Then you had Uranus-Neptune conjunction in 92, 93. What was that? The internet. Computers burst onto the scene. Internet was just getting its feet wet. And look how powerful that Uranus-Neptune conjunction was. Look what's happened to our world since then. Phones, computers, internet, social media. These things pervade our world now. And that's the Uranus-Neptune conjunction brought that in. So these outer planets are important for changing consciousness to move into the consciousness needed in this new age we are in. And we can't own it enough if we are holding on to the way that it used to be. If you're listening to what's going on in the world and you start feeling a lot of fear and a lot of anger towards somebody or something, yeah, to a certain extent, that's natural. But if you let yourself drown in it, you go into a rabbit hole around it, you're losing the consciousness that you need for this new world and this new age. Get back into your meditation. Go out with your friends that have a spiritual perspective. Don't let yourself get drawn into fear and hatred. It may seem warranted. You may say, well, look at these Trump people. How could I not hate them? You don't have to hate them. This is all part of the process of what we're going through. Yeah, it's anathema to what we're becoming, but this is all part of the process. And the culture war is splitting apart our own inner yin-yang symbol. It's okay for a little while again, because sometimes you need to break away in order to find yourself. But you got to come back to the unity, especially now as we're moving into this new age, and the temptations to not be in unity are tremendous now. So that's our rest of the year. Let me say this now. We talked about these countries. We're going to have Deborah on in just a few minutes. We talked about this, but in your own natal chart, when you've got the Uranus, the Neptune, and the Pluto moving through your natal placements, then you know this is what you need to, the way you need to grow and transform a certain part of yourself. So let's say your sun in your natal chart is being aspected by Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto. The sun in a person's chart is their center of who they are, the heart space, very center of who you are. And it has a lot to do with your identity, your conscious identity. And it's got a lot to do with your sense of purpose. You know, like the sun's the center of the solar system. You know, that's where the purpose of the solar system sits. And that's true in your life too. So if you've got Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto now making an aspect, conjunction, opposition, square, sextile to your sun in your natal chart, it means that it's time for you to let go another level of how you have been seeing yourself. It's like cracking open something in the old ego. And it could fight for dear life too. But it needs to crack open and it needs to be released, the old ego images you have of who you are. And then the other part of the transformation is to allow the truth of who you're becoming now to come out and to surface and to be. If Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto is making an aspect to Venus in your chart, it means it's time to move more, time to move in a new way to your heart space, to your relationships, to your connections with other people. And the old way you've been connecting maybe are based on some traumatic events that have happened in your life, or maybe based on some old habits that you got into in previous relationships or in your childhood. And it's time to let go of those old patterns because you're not satisfied in relationships with them. So as you let go of those old patterns and you open up your heart in a whole new way, you find that your life is changing in big ways that are much more positive than they were before. They're much more enjoyable, much more satisfying. I could go down all the different planets, but I think you get the drift of what I'm saying. So when Uranus comes around, it comes around like a wake up call. It comes to your nervous system and your mind, higher mind. When Neptune comes around, it goes deep into your soul. Pluto also goes into your soul where it's making the changes, but they're different the way they operate. Neptune's like the ocean, vast. It's got everything inside of it. And when you're sitting there on the beach looking at that ocean, it's so easy to surrender to the sound, to the sights. That's what you do with the Neptune transit. You let go, you surrender. Pluto's different. Pluto also is about soul. But Pluto's soul is more intense. It's like a rushing river, like a witch's brew. It's extremely intense and will bring us down into places that we thought we had let go of or forgotten. But the remnants of our old traumas need to come back so we can release another level. And Pluto helps us to do that. Pluto helps us to empower ourselves. Pluto is about power. Power can be, when people are young, immature, power means I got the power now. Now we'll see how you're going to feel. Now that I got the power, what you did to me, that's the negative use of Pluto. Power instead of power over becomes empowerment. I feel like I'm in my own power, my own authority, not over you, but just I can now be who I am. I'm empowered to become who I am, to be my own sovereign being. So these next few months are going to be powerful, and there's going to be a lot of change. And by the things I mentioned to you, Iran and China and all that, there could be. Remember, it's the military-industrial complex that's needing to be transformed because that's what holds the empire. And so issues with the economy and issues with the military are bound to happen in order for us to transform. And it is the fall of Rome, my friends. It's a country I love. But it's the fall of Rome. It's the country I love, but it's become an empire. It's become a superstar. That's not what it is meant to be. It's meant to carry these wonderful values, Aquarian values. Power to the people, of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's the Aquarian moon. Liberation, freedom of speech. Not like a teenager, like I can do what I want when I want to do it. But freedom with responsibility is real freedom. And this is what we're moving into. So don't lose sight of that, no matter how dark it gets over the next few months. And speaking of, what was I speaking of? What's my segue here, Deborah? Speaking of feeling better in the new world, we're going to talk to our master meditation leader, Deborah Knighton Tallarico. And let's bring her in. Hey, Deb. There you are.
Hey there, Leo.
There
hey,
we go. Now I can hear you. You're with us now, are you not?
I am with you. Yes.
Okay. So why don't you? I know the event you want to talk about a little bit too, and I'm going to have them. You can mention that in this too, if you don't mind. That I'll have as guests next week. The people I'll have as guests next week. So that Deborah brings to us, and then she's got this meditation, and she's always got a few little tidbits that she's going to share with everybody. So Deb, take the floor.
Okay. Also, for all those listening, this is not Laughter and Lattes show. I noticed that up in the thing. It's actually the Perspectives from the Sky, right?
Thank you. I didn't know how to get rid of that. But yes,
yeah,
you're right.
I don't know how to either. So, so I think most people are feeling the intensity of this time. I know for myself, I have really been feeling this, and with all my clients that I've been seeing, people feeling more anxious, like some of our listeners have put in the chat box, feeling hopelessness, depression. And, during these times with such intensity and transformation, it's so important for us to stay connected to the Mother Earth, to the Great Mother, to the calm energies, to our breath. And I've been noticing lately with a lot of my clients, I'm a spiritual psychotherapist, counselor, and healer, and also a priestess. And with my clients, I've been bringing them back into conscious awareness of their breath and working with their breath and like doing counting breaths to calm themselves down and to stay really connected. So today I'm going to do a meditation that will help. It's something that's a very simple meditation that I think everyone can do on their own easily. So I'm going to do that. And I think before I do that, I just want to share so we can kind of end with the meditation is I just want to share about a wonderful benefit that I'm a part of here in Sedona. It's to save the headwaters of the Verde River, and which is a crucial river to the Southwest and Arizona for the water supply. And it's just a beautiful river. And I'm going to be doing, and someone just said we're color coordinated. We didn't plan that. So
sometimes I think you do plan that somehow.
I did not plan that this time.
I trust you.
Anyway, I just wanted to share, we're going to have the co-founders of the Mother Earth Restoration Trust on the show in a couple of weeks so they can talk a little bit more about the work they do to help restore the feminine nature in the earth and all, for all of us. And so they're going to be on the show in a couple of weeks talking about the benefit in their work. So I just wanted to bring people's awareness to that. You can go to the Mother Earth Restoration Trust.world. So it's not .com. It's the Mother Earth Restoration Trust.world. And you can find out about the initiative to save the life of the Verde River. And also you can read more about the work of the Mother Earth Restoration Trust and about our benefit on the event benefit page. So more about that in the next show. So today, just wanting to bring everyone into a deeper place inside. So I am going to do a guided meditation. And I'm going to start by calling in some energies and just bring us deeply within, and to connect and root and ground ourselves with the Mother Earth. And first, we want to start following the natural rhythm of our breath and just become aware of your breath naturally as it moves inward and outward, like the waves of the ocean, moving into shore and out again. And Leo, you might want to mute yourself just for any little sounds that are coming on.
Okay.
So just follow the natural rhythm of your breath. And if you're feeling anxious or fear or anything like that, you can also do a counting breath where you count numbers as you're breathing in. So like up to 8 or 10, whatever feels right. And then you hold your breath for another count of 5 to 10. And then you exhale and count your breath. And that's called a counting breath. And that's a breathing technique, a mindfulness tool that you can use anytime you're feeling really stressed, anxious, insecure, uncertain. It's a really good breath to use. So we're going to just follow the rhythm of our breath right now. And if you're guided to do the counting breath, please do that. And as we're doing this breath, I'm going to just call in some energies to be with us for the meditation. So we're going to call to the spirit guides and keepers of the sacred directions. to eagle, hawk, and condor of the east, to the winds of the four directions, to the sacred air element. To the south we call, to coyote, to rainbow serpent, to Sachamama, who teaches us to stay connected to the earth, and the serpent of transformation, calling in the sacred flames of the south, the fire element, the flames of purification and transformation and transmutation, to be with us. To the west we call, to jaguar, to bear, to whale, and to dolphin, to the sacred water element, to the waters of the earth, mother's body, to the blood within our own bodies that is the water within us, calling to the rivers and the lakes, the streams, the oceans, the springs, the ancient healing wells, and just feeling that purifying, cleansing, healing energy of the water element and the sacred divine feminine, the mysteries of the feminine, as we call those in. And to the north, we call to great white buffalo, to wolf, to owl, and sweet hummingbird medicines, calling to those wisdom keepers of the north, to the wise and ancient ones, to the ancestors, and just taking a moment to honor the ancestors of the land where you live right now, those original peoples, the indigenous ones. And then calling in and honoring your own ancestral lineage and lineages throughout all time, space, and dimension. Calling in future generations as well. And honoring the sacred earth element, the sacred mountains, the apus that hold that wisdom of the earth, the trees, the forests, the rocks, the crystals, the minerals that hold the records of all that has come and left and unfolded upon the earth for eons of time, honoring the entire body of the earth and all she carries. And calling and just feeling now the heartbeat of Mother Earth beneath us. Feeling her sacred heartbeat as we call to her now, giving thanks for all we receive each and every day through our food, our nourishment, the beauty of nature all around us, the water, all the elements of nature. We call to these ones, all the devas of nature, the nature spirits, the elementals. We call to all these ones and we feel their energies as we attune to the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And just bringing our hearts into alignment with her heartbeat and bringing your awareness into your heart now. I'm going to play the love tuner so you can feel your inner heart space, your inner heart sanctuary and temple as you align this with the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And just tuning into this love vibration of your heart and this love vibration of the heart of Mother Earth. And then becoming aware of the threefold flame of your heart. The pink, the blue, and the golden flames that represent the flame of divine love and compassion, and the flame of divine power and will, and the flame of divine light and wisdom, all within your heart. Breathing into your heart temple, into these flames as they grow and expand with each in-breath. And with each out-breath, consciously releasing any concern, fear, anxiety, depression, hopelessness, anything that you've been carrying, just releasing that on your out-breath and feeding the flames with your in-breath so those grow inside your heart to hold and stabilize your body, your mind, your heart, your soul. That threefold flame of your heart that is always there. And with each breath, it grows in intensity. And then feeling the pillar of light that you sit in. You can even imagine yourself now like a tree of life, your trunk being your chakra column from the top of your head to the base of your spine, and the roots that extend down from the base of your spine, down through your earth star chakra, below your root chakra, and these roots going all the way down like tentacles, deep into the earth, and even wrapping around the sacred heart of Mother Gaia. So you're really rooting and grounding your energy, and you're really making that deep connection with the energy of the earth and Gaia's heart, that place of unconditional love of the Mother Earth, to help support, ground, nurture, and stabilize your energy field. Just like all the trees that are so grounding, and any essential oils that you might work with that are of the trees that help bring that grounded energy, those are also useful right now to anoint your feet and your base chakra. And just feeling that energy of your roots going so deep in the earth. And then you can imagine drawing up a calming energy. And just notice what color that is. It could be green of the life force of the Mother Earth, or a soft blue of the waters. And you can draw that energy up through your roots and into the base of your spine, through your base chakra, and then drawing that energy up through your chakra column, your trunk, your pillar of light, and just drawing that up through you, and then out through your soul star and up through all the chakras above you into your branches, the branches of this crystalline tree of life. As at this time on the planet, we are moving into our crystalline light bodies. We can feel ourselves as that crystalline tree of life. And just taking a moment to breathe the energy from the earth through you and up and out to the universe, to source, as we call to our universal source, and just feeling that connection, that pillar of light that goes down into the center of the earth through your roots, up through your trunk, up through the branches, and even further, all the way up to source, to the universal source, to the source of the divine that also lives within your heart temple. as we invoke the support, the love, the light of our Mother, Father, Goddess, God, all that is. And even bringing down the energy from Source to fill your tree of life and to travel down to bless Mother Earth through you as you feel yourself as this crystalline tree of life. And just feeling how connected you are now with the earth, with all the elements, the directions, and with Source, as we also call to the angelic realm and the archangelic realm. And they are always waiting for us to call to them for whatever it is we need. So when you do this meditation on your own, you can call to these ones. There's angels of healing. There's angels of grace. There's angels of empowerment. There's angels of transition. There's angels of truth. And you can call to these ones to be with you, and call to the archangels of the earth that are always right here. Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Camuel, Archangel Zadkiel, and Archangel Jophiel. And I always like to call to also Archangel Sandalphon, who is the Archangel of the earth, and Archangel Metatron of sacred geometries. And you can call these ones in, and the sisterhood and brotherhoods of light, and any guides that you work with. Call these ones in to help you in any time of need. And remember the divine that is within you, in your heart flame, in your heart temple, in every cell of your body, in all the layers of your energy field is the divine. And you can also become aware of the unified field, the quantum field around you that encompasses all of nature, all of the universe, that great web of creation that grandmother spider weaves, weaving us all together, all the filaments of the divine light within all of life, weaving it together into a great tapestry of oneness and love. And you can always tap into this unified field. You can always ground yourself and root yourself and feel yourself as this tree of life. And you can always work with your breath and bring your awareness to that air element, which is the breath of life. And as you breathe and count your breaths, as you breathe down into the earth and attune your heart with the heart of the earth and the heart of the universe, it can be very calming and centering and grounding. So just taking a moment to give thanks for all you've received from the meditation and feeling the simplicity of this meditation as something that you can do every day in your practice. So we give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks. Blessed be, blessed be, blessed be our sacred trees of life and all that is. And I turn this back to Leo now. Thank you, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you at the next show. And also, if anyone wants to reach me, you can reach me by going to my website at GaiaSophiaTempleOfTheHeart.com. And this coming Wednesday at the new moon, I'll be doing a meditation from 5:30 to 6 Pacific time on the exact day of the full moon after Pluto goes direct. And you can find out about this on my website on my event page. So it's www.GaiaSophiaTempleoftheHeart.com. And you can also reach me at Alelia. So my name is Deborah Alelia at GaiaSophiaTempleoftheHeart.com. Everybody. Yeah.
Thank you, Deb. Appreciate it. God, I didn't want to come back. I wanted to stay in that meditation. Oh, luckily I live with that beautiful human being, and I can, maybe she'll do a guided meditation for me after I get done with this show. We'll see. I've been good this week. I deserve it, Deborah. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in again. And we'll be back on in 2 weeks. I guess that'll be the 16th. And we'll have the Mother Earth Restoration people talking about this wonderful event that's going to happen at the end of October. And so I look forward to seeing you then. We'll talk more about these aspects that are coming in on the 16th, because there's a lot to go. The actual eclipses don't start until mid-November. So again, get that meditation in, do your spiritual practices, stay with love, stay with truth, stay with we're all one human family. Much love to you all, and talk to you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.